we go, everyone. Okay, so tonight, this is going to be session 4 on our series, which is the renovation timeline from start to finish. So the renovation timeline from start to finish. A lot of people ask me, what order does a renovation come in? So I've broken it down into 8 components. So week 1 was all about setting the path for goal-crushing results. If you haven't seen week 1, session 1, then find it in the Mums and Dads Renovators and Decorators group, or you can also find it on YouTube. Week 2 was dominating project success with an ironclad budget. That sounds very tight and firm, and that is so true. It's so important to stick to budget when you're doing your renovation. Week 3 is the power of a crystal clear scope of works, just knowing what's coming first, second, third, knowing what to order in advance, just having it all laid out in order from start to finish, you know, what's actually going to happen on the ground in your renovation. Which brings me to session 4, week 4, which is tonight. And tonight is all about how to unleash your creative genius, unleashing your creative genius. So we're talking about research and gathering inspiration for creating mood boards, getting your thoughts in order, getting your design ideas in order before you start your renovation. It's really important that you kind of have this all nutted out, so you're not guessing when you're wandering around buying product, and so that you know everything is going to fit where it's supposed to be, and it's going to have this gorgeous cohesive look when you're finished. So the first thing, I think, is to start with what you've got. So by that, I mean, look at the property that you already have. It's a renovator, right? Well, I'm assuming it's a renovator because that's what this is all about and I'm all about. So start with what you've got and ask yourself, what is the existing style? And how does this existing style lend itself to what's happening this year, to current looks? So, for example, in my house, there is VJ board, there's wainscoting, there's some really beautiful decorative trim, there's barn doors, there's things from the 1970s when this house was created that immediately lends itself to the renovated version of this house. So if I were to smash it all apart and completely redo it, that's expensive, right? To absolutely drag it all apart and throw it all out in the skip bin and completely replace it and try and come up with a design concept, that's really, really expensive to do, when the truth is sometimes the design's already there. Like there are already messages and signals in the property you're about to renovate. So listen to those messages and signals. Things that you really like, that you'd like to repeat, but in a more updated version. So consider what's in fashion. You know, you really do have to look at your home fashion. You need to be up to date, guys. A lot of people go, hey, I'd love to do your renovation course so I don't have to keep up to date with what's in. And I think, oh, you probably got to, you know, you really have to have your head around what's in right now and what sells for more. Honestly, if you don't know, then you really need a community like mine more than ever, because you can't get it wrong. The market, the demographic of people you are selling or renovating for beyond your own family, they will identify if it's not up to scratch in a heartbeat, and you won't get your price. So it's really important that you really keep in mind who you're renovating for, where are you renovating, the expectations of that market, and produce a look that's very, very popular to that market. You want those buyers or renters fighting over your property. When I look at time on market and properties selling slowly, they sell slowly for a reason. Sometimes it's their price too high, but other times is they've really missed the mark. They're not quite there. There's something wrong with that property, and whoever did the renovation hasn't addressed it. Or perhaps it was even the wrong property to renovate in the first place. But you've got to get all of these things right. When you do, properties fly off the market. They are the first to go, and that's the aim. So how do you get your thoughts in order? How do you get your design ideas in some kind of, if you like me, and my brain goes a million miles an hour and I love so much stuff, I walk into a shop and I go, I like that, and I like that, and I like that, and I like that, and they're all different styles. At some point, you have to get very, very centered and order those things so that it's going to make sense when it's all in a property, the one property together, that there's flow from room to room, that you've created this beautiful cohesive look that's going to draw someone into your property. They're going to stay longer. They're going to fall in love. They're going to find that emotional connection to your home, right? So it is just working out how to get that cohesive look and sticking to your plan. So the easiest way is to start to document it. So, stuff in your head and stuff that you find online and offline in magazines, start to collate it together. So the first thing is, if you're like me and you've got magazines as well as online stuff, but I've got lots of magazines, I really just start by putting some little post-it notes in the corner of any of the pages that I'm interested in. And then I cut out specific pictures and I'll just throw them all in a binder folder that's separated into rooms. So I'll have a little sheet in there, like a little plastic sleeve in there that will say kitchens. And I'll have a little plastic sleeve in there that will say inspiration for stairs. Then a plastic sleeve that will say bathrooms, and a plastic sleeve that will say the front of the house, the exterior of the home, facade, and then architecture, gardens and pool. It's like I just have a different plastic sleeve. So when I come across things, I can just rip them out or tear them out and pop them in those little plastic sleeves, and they're all in this folder together. The reason why that's so important is when I'm speaking to a builder or anybody else where I'm trying to give an idea of what I've got in my head, I can say stairs like this, stair railing like that, stone wall, stone cladding like this. And so people can start to get an idea of what's in your head. Your poor old builders sometimes and contractors don't have a clue unless you physically can pass that information from here to them. So it's really important to start to get it all together. So as you get this folder together, every time you pop a photo in of something that you really love, what you'll identify is that some of the things that you've popped in there before, you no longer love. Like as you get very, very clear and refined, you'll be able to replace some of the older pictures with the newer ones so that you can get very, very, very pinpoint accuracy on your design style for that particular home from room to room. If you flick through those plastic sleeves, they all go. So I think that's the easiest, is just to get yourself a folder, a binder, and start with those plastic sleeves, because that's pretty simple and it's cheap, right? The second thing I like to do is I have a pin board or a cork board or a whiteboard, whatever you like, but I have a board where I can just kind of throw some visuals up. And the reason I like to do that is, number one, kind of works as a vision board a little bit too, where I think, oh, that's what I'd really love. Let's keep going till I get either that or something really similar. So it keeps me on target, keeps me dreaming, keeps me hopeful, keeps me happy. And also the same thing, when you've looked at something for a long time and you're exposed to new things to market, you can keep checking in on yourself and saying, yes, that is still current, or no, I like this a little bit more now. This is more relevant to my design style. So definitely get something that's in your face or in front of your eyes, more importantly, that you can refer to and just keep aligning with. It's really important so that when you go shopping, you can walk into a lighting store, for example, and say, yes, 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 no, that's not the look, no, that's not the look, yes, yes, and you'll just identify straight away what goes and what doesn't. And I think something like that can evolve as your own renovation plan progresses, like as it all unfolds, all of that will evolve. So inspiration from inside your head, I think that's where it all begins, is the dream that you have, like how you envisage the property to look. And then you're going to have to find something that explains what's in your head. So unless you're an A1 artist and you can sketch something from scratch, then I would strongly suggest go to Pinterest or Instagram or Houzz, Houzz, Houzz Australia. They would be my three go-to places online to have a sticky beak and see if you can find, if you search, put in the search bar, you'll find things that, that speak to you, that really are a picture of what you've already got in your mind, and start collecting them. When you're starting to collect digital assets, you'll need to create some kind of digital mood board. And those mood boards, to do that, you could use Canva, you can use Microsoft Paint, In particular, Microsoft 3D is a really great tool for whipping out the background and just drawing out what you need from those pictures. And the other thing is even a simple PowerPoint. If you've used PowerPoint and that is familiar with you, don't be afraid to use PowerPoint. Just going to get in there. It's really easy to pop photos in there, and then you can put little arrows and you can write your little commentary. It's just a really easy way. It's also easy to send through to people. People are familiar with it. You can, switch it in and out pretty easily. So PowerPoint's not a bad tool either, just to throw your pictures. So what you're trying to get is all of your visuals in one place, and you can add measurements and all that kind of stuff. So there you go. So there's the offline in your folders or on your vision board, your chalkboard, your cork board, your pin board, however you want it in front of your face. And then there's also your digital assets, and create your mood boards and have them all in one place, and keep revisiting them, like keep going back to look at what you've created, and just ebb and flow, like as new things come in, replace the old. So then the other thing is, if you've got everything digitally and you might have a builder on site, unless you've got it on your phone, easily accessible, or you're happy to carry around your iPad or your laptop, you might wish to turn some of those digital pictures into a physical something. So you just print out some pictures and start putting it in your folder all together. Even though the colors aren't awesome, especially off my printer, people can still see what you mean. And if you put the exact URL underneath, you can always go back and look them up directly. So I hope that's helped, guys. Look, it's really important to get your mind in order and choose very, very wisely. You don't want to change your mind. You want all of this clear before you start building. It's part of the timeline. And I think that once you get all of your ideas very, very refined, everything becomes easier, it becomes less confusing and overwhelming. Thank you guys for joining me every week. I like doing these lives. They're great fun. I like researching bits and pieces for you guys. And I like sharing some of the inner circle secrets with you guys, and I hope you get some value out of it for free. And if you want to take your renovating to the next level, understand that the guys you see out there in the community that are flipping for profit, that are doing very, very well, have undertaken some kind of education. They're doing it at a totally different level. So don't just look and go, I'd like to do that. Think, how are they doing that? How did they know to source the properties under value? How do they know what to do to a property? How do they know how to run the numbers before they go and buy? How do they know which properties to buy and which ones to run from? They've all done some kind of property education course, just like mine, or perhaps even mine. So thanks, guys. Tune in to YouTube and go back and layer through and watch all of the previous videos. I know that you'll do a lot of learning for free and enjoy it. And thanks. I'll see you next week. Bye.